Hi, my name is Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. If you're one of the one person that's watching us on Twitch right now, welcome back. Everybody else, glad to see you again. It's been a week. A very exciting week or a very exciting few minutes, depending on how you're watching. Can't schedule things in advance on Twitch, to the best of my knowledge. But Chris, how's it going? How you doing?
It's going fine. No, it really is going fine. That sounds like it's not really going fine, but it's going fine.
You did say it that way, but anybody that listens to the podcast, I feel like knows you well enough to know that you don't have like that level. You don't exercise that level of sarcasm. So even if you don't sound like what you say, we still trust what you say. That's good. It's good quality to have your words have meaning, unlike mine, because I don't shut up, and a lot of my words don't have meaning. This week, we'll probably jump up right into the episode fairly quickly here, but we did want to say that next week for Book 1 Air Chapter 6, we are going to have a special guest on, a new special guest, one who has not joined us before, and we have something I think, and I imagine Chris and our guests also think, is very fun and a little different and interesting. So if you're interested in a shake-up, little mash-up action, be sure to come back next week. It should be a very entertaining episode. But that being
We will
said,
also be reviewing an episode of Korra. At least I think so.
Yeah. I was planning to.
Okay.
I should know what it's called because I feel like I just watched it because I did.
It's called
watch one hit.
And the winner is.
That's the one, and so it ties in very beautifully with this other thing that we have planned, and we're very excited. But we're also very excited to talk about this episode, kind of, ish. Chris, if you have nothing else, let's just get talking about this thing.
Let's get into it.
All right.
So, full disclosure, I've made it known, maybe on this podcast, maybe just somewhere else before, that this is my least favorite episode of The Legend of Korra.
I think we discussed it towards the end of the last podcasters because I didn't know names of episodes or anything like that. But when I got to this episode and watched it, my first instinct was, that's the one he was talking. That one right there.
In hindsight, I liked it more than I thought. There's a lot of good stuff here, I think. And also, there's one other episode that I'm pretty sure is Mike and Bryan's least favorite episode. They will say it's their least favorite episode, and that is the Remembrances episode in season 4. We'll get to it. Gosh, should we even review it when we get to it? It's like a flashback episode, but it's.
Is it like a filler, like a TV, a sitcom filler?
Yeah, it's like one of those episodes,
where they just.
So the reason why, which we'll get into also when we get to the episode, the reason why they did that is because Nickelodeon came to them. And they were like, "Hey, we're cutting your budget. You can either fire some people or you can do this crappy episode." And they're like, "Okay, fine, we'll do this crappy episode." And so they made the best they can of right before the episode even came out. They both posted on social media like, "Hey guys, we know this episode is not what we envisioned, but just trust us. Like, this was the best we could do." They pretty much just said what I just said, that they could have let some people go, but they didn't want to do that. So that's why the episode was like how it was. I thought it was kind of.
Sorry, I
interrupted. The thing is, there's actually some funny things in the last third part of that episode as well. But maybe this episode is still better than that. We'll see. We'll see when we get to that.
And don't go into this one with like too much of a, we're approaching it negative because it doesn't happen very frequently that there's an episode that we just both don't like. We went through 61 episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's like 3 or 4 that we both get to kind of knowing in advance that we do. It doesn't happen very often, but it's still not. I mean, it's not bad. It's totally watchable and fine. It's definitely not for me. I will give you this. It is anti-Shawn.
You put in 3 bullet points.
I did, and I regretted putting in 3 bullet points. But it's whatever.
I'm going to point out the good things in this episode if you don't like it, everyone. So
that's what we're here for. Point out those good things. I feel like I had one more. Oh, the episodes like that, the filler episodes. Like Remembrances or the bottle episodes, like things like that make me so grateful. And I'll say again that the first 2 seasons of Community are my favorite 2 seasons of television, period. and it's only possible because of the character that Abed is. It is the only thing that makes it possible and makes it work. When they did the bottle episode,
the
when
bottle
they're trying
episode
to find,
is so good.
It's bad good. It's the good kind of bad. Maybe that's what we're looking at. It's the good kind of bad, like whatever actors he says that's not Nicolas Cage that I forget now. But
Annie loses her pen, and she's like, because they're all in the study room. The study room's where they're at most of the time. And Annie like accuses someone of Britta of stealing the pen, and then apparently she then accuses everyone, and Jeff's like, no, we're gonna find this pen, and then they get to the point.
They're both standing naked behind tables because they've emptied all of the... Not naked, they're in their boxers or whatever, but they've emptied all of their contents and belongings out on the floor. They still can't find the pin.
And they even, like, Pierce has, like, a cast, and they even cut open Pierce's cast to find the pin because he's been itching himself with random things.
Yeah.
And eventually they're like, Jeff, as he always does, comes with, like, an inspirational speech, and he's like, listen, a ghost stole this pin. That is more likely to have happened than our friendship being tested this way, than one of us betraying the other ones. And they all agree, yeah, a ghost stole the pin.
It's a beautiful speech, yeah. It's like they don't believe in ghosts, but that was really good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that's the good kind of bad. But like, it only happens because of Abed's character being able to... If the difference between the episode being good and bad is Abed pointing it out and calling it a bottle episode. That's the thing that makes it good. If he didn't do that, you'd just be like, this is a stupid episode.
Yeah. And then Jeff has plans to on like some hot date, like really, really hot date.
I think it's the teacher lady still.
Maybe.
I think it's the teacher lady. It
could be. And then he has to, after he gets pissed off that he's being accused of stealing the pen, he's like, he calls her up and is like, hey, I gotta go. No, I'm doing a bottle episode. And he hangs up on her. I need to do some more rewatch of Community.
And that, in my heart, I'm going to try really hard to talk. When we're done with this, we're going to transition it somehow into Community. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'll think of a segue. But that episode, you talking about remembrances, or even talking about this episode, these episodes where it just feels like there's not much to it. And there's good ways to do it, and there's bad ways to do it. And what I'm getting at is this one is fine. We don't love it, but it's fine.
It's a stereotypical TV thing.
Yeah, so all preconceived notions aside, I'm ready to focus on episode content. All 3 bullets worth.
All right, so Team Avatar. The Fire Ferrets are... in the tournament. They have a great first round. They have just great teamwork all around. They just kick butt of, I forget what they're called, the kangaroo something.
I remember the next
one. Mangaroos. Maybe Mangaroos?
I don't remember. Maybe.
Yeah. And Korra has feelings for Mako. And then she kind of holds it to herself. Anyway, she's at Airtable Island with Icky and Icky and Janora, and they're like, "Hey, tell me about that firebender boy." Like, again, I love this relationship between them. I love it. Like, it's such a sisterly relationship, and Korra is like asking them for advice. It's so freaking adorable.
It's stinking cute, yeah.
And this is the funny part. I cracked up laughing for some reason because I think they did this on purpose. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. No, of course they didn't do this on purpose because that wouldn't make any sense. Which I'll make a meme about this later. But Janora is like, oh, I've been reading these romantic novels, and I read this one about this warrior lady who falls madly in love with the other side's general's prince. And then she gets on her dragon and she burns the whole town down. She jumps into a volcano. I'm like, was she reading A Song of Ice and Fire or something?
She may have been. It's pretty
that
deep.
Sounds like Daenerys Targaryen.
It's Song of Ice and Fire plus Romeo and Juliet. It's both.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a mashup. That's what it is.
Wait a minute. No, Song of Ice and Fire is one book, right, of the series?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not that familiar with the book portions, but that sounds accurate, yeah.
Um, and then Pema gives her advice, like, just go for it. Just tell them how you feel, which is terrible advice for Korra. Don't tell Korra to go for it, because Korra will go for it.
She's very literal, even when it's
Yeah.
kids offering up the advice.
But I do love how this is kind of foreshadowing for some information we get later on in the series. Because Pema says that when she was like training as an air acolyte, she was in love with Tenzin, but Tenzin was already with someone else, and then she told Tenzin, and then Tenzin broke up with his girlfriend at the time. Which it's Lynn. Come on, yeah, I'm pretty sure no one's watching this that hasn't seen the show yet. Which is really, it's so good. I
And we
can't wait
already
till we get
found that
farther
out
into the
earlier,
show.
right? That was like episode 1. Did we already learn that
No,
in episode 1 or something?
nope, not yet.
Okay. We just know there was a relationship of some type.
Yeah, we just know they know each other pretty
Got
much.
it.
We don't even know how close they know each other.
Got it.
Just they're very familiar with each other. And he does kind of like say that she's looking good, but in a way that's more just
That professional
yeah.
passing, yeah.
No, like, Lynn, you looking good.
Wink.
Blowing me away. You rocking
Airbender
that metal
puns.
suit. Um, and anyway, so Korra takes advice, and she goes straight for Mako, and she tells him that she's in love with him, and he doesn't. He says he doesn't feel the same way. So the next round, they oh, you have something to mention before? It doesn't matter. The next round, they're a little off because they don't have the chemistry they had before in the fight. So then Bolin has to sort of step in and win that round of the fight. And then Bolin is like, "Oh, hey, how about I date Korra?" Which is Bolin is sweet enough, but one thing they both kind of approach girls in kind of this. I won't say the weird way. I mean, Bolin is just like, "Hey, what do you think about Korra?" One day Mako's like, I think she'd make a good girlfriend, but I think I want to date Asami." Yeah, and then Bolin's like, "I'm talking about for me."
That part was a little amusing to me. It's like, oh, well, for you, no, it's not good at all.
Man, not good at all. It's like, but 2 seconds ago you said she was girlfriend material. No, I said she was good, like a good avatar, good teammate. So then Bolin's like, "No, what? I'm gonna go for Corey anyway." So Korra and Bolin go on I wouldn't say it's a date because Korra never says it's a date. Korra's just like, "Yeah, sure, let's hang out."
It's like a
So to
cute,
me,
it's like a cute hangout.
yeah. So to me, I don't fault Korra at all. I don't think Korra's like stringing Bolin along or anything. She never like made it like, "Oh yeah, this is a date. I'm on a date with you." She's just like, "Yeah, go. We can go hang out." Essentially. And Mako gets a little jealous of that. Oh, we do meet Tano, which is Tano, yeah, which is leader of the Wolf Bats, who is like the champion of the last Forbidden tournament.
This is the part that I personally, I don't know why I liked it so much. I think just because it caught me a little bit off guard. So they're sitting at dinner, and Tano comes up.
So,
First of
sorry.
all, it's super duper childish in a way that I would not consider good. Like this guy comes up with this posse that just follows him around, and that is not how real life works in my experience. But whatever, it's fine. And so he's
You're
like
not rolling
talking.
with the right posse.
I guess my town was too small for posses. I guess it's just you and whatever one friend that was by you. But then he's talking trash, and then Korra snaps and Naga like busts her face through the window. I think it's either a window or a door there. It's a
Yeah,
window.
window.
Like she was just waiting outside for her time to shine. It kind of makes me think of I have a dog named Charlie. Me and Charlie are good friends, but Charlie does not listen except when it's time to go on a ride. So it made me think of like when I open the door to the car and I'll crack it open and real slow, and he just gets like all like real antsy. And I get all the way open, and he's just like fidgeting and squirming and everything. And you're like, all right, let's go on a ride. And he just explodes. His vert is like 8 feet. He just off the ground. And when I saw Naga do that, I was like, that's my dog right there, just on command to go for the ride. Also, it caught me off guard because it's like, it's not a jump scare. The jump opposite of a jump scare, a jump happy.
Yeah. I do think the voice acting with Tano is really good. He's the right level of creepiness. It is voice acted by Rami Malek. If you know Rami Malek, he
The
played
name
Freddie
sounds
Mercury.
familiar.
Played Freddie
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mercury and this is just called Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He won an Oscar for that. If you listen to commentary, Janet Varney's on this episode with Mike and Bryan, I think, and she was like, and at this point, Rami Malek got a little bit bigger. I think he was on a Robot, not iRobot, whatever show is on USA. Don't know why I can't think of it.
No idea.
He's a hacker and stuff. The first season or so was pretty good. I haven't even watched the last season. I just got really convoluted a little bit. Anyway, she was like, he was like really creepy in real life. But no, well, and I'm sorry, in real life, but he was playing the role like he was pretending to be really creepy, but he was doing a really good job of being creepy in real life. Like not like he was a creep himself. Sorry.
I mean, that's good.
No.
It's funny to think of. I don't know. This guy's supposed to be like a professional athlete, and he just, I don't know. At least try to look like a professional athlete, would you?
Yeah. But no, they were just saying how Jen and Rami were just saying how good he was at being creepy. Not like Rami Malek was a creeper. No, Rami Malek's pretty cool. She said he was nice and stuff, and so did Mike and Bryan. I don't want to go out there tarnishing Rami Malek's name on my small podcast. He'll come after me. He's the new Bond villain.
Oh, interesting. If he comes after us, like, we'll invite him to the podcast. Like, listen, you can say all the bad stuff in the world you want on our podcast, but you have to come and be on our podcast.
That'd be the most random thing.
Of all the guests that you've reached out to and whatnot, and then we get Rami Malek.
Like, yeah, I'll be on your podcast. And then I don't do it right.
I'll sick Charlie through a door on him just for fun. It'll be great.
But anyway, so their kind of date-ish thing ends. Mako's looking for her because Mako's like, I don't want you to hurt Bolin. And she's like, I don't want to hurt him. And Korra's pretty honest about that. But then things get like way too romantic. Because Mako's like, listen, I do have feelings for you and you're great and stuff. And then Korra, they get to one point where Korra pretty much says, like, when you're with Asami, you're thinking about me. Like, I was like, dang, Korra, that's a little rough. But hey, whatever. She got confidence.
It was, she really went for it. She told her to go for it. She did.
And then she kisses Mako, and he kisses her back, and then Bolin sees it, which makes things funny because it runs away in such a and then he goes to this place and eats a bunch of soup.
You know, again, how professional athletes run.
Yeah, exactly. And then I do so Mike has talked a lot about how much he loves working with PJ Bryan, which is the voice of Bolin, because he ad-libs so many things, and he why can't I think of the stupid word? That type of comedy where it's off the improv. He improvs a lot of stuff, and I'm sure he was just killing it this episode because like he's pretty funny. He's drunk off of this food. Also, in the commentary, Mike was saying like we had a really hard time getting this past Nickelodeon people because like he looks a little inebriated, but we're like, what, you see what you're getting away with on SpongeBob? Like SpongeBob all the time is doing weird stuff. Like there's an episode where he's cursing, but they just bleep it out. And there's also an episode where he is inebriated.
That is a really good episode of SpongeBob.
Yeah, I don't like that many SpongeBob episodes, but that was a good episode.
That was
And the Super Bowl halftime commercial one was a really good episode too.
definitely winners. It's true. It's like just because it's on Avatar, like I don't know. Yeah, how much harm is there to showing somebody inebriated? But that's
Yeah,
whatever.
but I think he's pretty funny. Just like, you're not a good brother, a good brother. Like, and he's like drooling into the
He's
food.
got a snot coming out too, I think.
Yeah. So really,
Even I forgot the ferret's name. Even he's like asleep in the food bowl.
yes,
He's
yeah.
Pabu.
Pabu, yeah. And then they have their third match against the Buzzard Wasps, and they do terrible at first, and then Korra uh, knocks them all out. Which is, I'm definitely making a meme about this later. Which is like, what do avatars have against Buzzard Wasps? You know, like Aang killed that one Buzzard Wasp. Korra's taking out a whole team of Buzzard Wasps. That's what's going on with avatars and Buzzard Wasps.
I feel like there's an opportunity to instead of out there killing younglings, out there killing buzzard wasps.
Just imagine if Kyoshi was just maybe Kyoshi had a problem with buzzard wasps being like stuck in the desert one day. It's just like F these buzzard wasps and just kills hundreds of them.
And I mean, I feel like in my heart, I feel like she would try to eat them. She'd be like, "Hey, we can eat these things," and then they'd cook them, and they'd be like, "You can't. Never mind. This is a bad idea." But her heart she would try to recover at first and try to recoup her mistake a bit.
No, I'm going total headcanon that Kyoshi has definitely eaten the buzzard wasp before.
I believe it. You know, I also feel like we missed a John Mulaney joke opportunity about saying whatever you want to say on TV, but another time.
And that's kind of how the episode ends. I would say that between the Korra and Mako ship, and which we might get to this in a future episode, Jamie, again, because that last one was so fun. Our puns and
That was
ships.
great.
If we were doing puns and ships for Legend of Korra, I would say I ship. Well, once I ship it, but comparing the two ships of Korra and Mako compared to Mako and Asami, Mako and Asami I think works way better than Mako and Korra. My daughter probably really disagrees with me on that because
And we
very few
value her
ships.
opinion, but because of YouTube policies, her opinion is not valid here because of children things. Sorry, Mackenzie. What's the age? When can she start? Hey, we'll have to start from scratch and get her opinions on all these.
We'll see.
That'll be a lot of fun. The 18th anniversary of this podcast. I agree entirely. I think. By the way, did I ever mention like a thank you to both of you for how much funnier that episode title got after I actually watched Hamilton?
Oh no, you didn't. Yeah.
Thank you, because it was even funnier after I watched Hamilton.
Good.
This episode, before we get into the ratings, I just want to mention that like one of the things that you're talking about here in terms of ships, and then you mentioned it earlier, and Korra also kind of defended it, is like when her and Bolin. I mean, it was a date, but it's like the whole crux of this episode in my mind is the fact that it like perceiving it as a date versus not a date. It's like they were just hanging out and they were having a good time, and then if everybody would have seen that, and then it would have been fine. But whatever. It's a weird episode to digest.
Yeah.
Teen romance. Well, if you don't have anything on the episode itself, let's go ahead and jump to some ratings. I've got plenty of time to complain over there.
All right. Audio visual. Give it a 7. I'm surprised I didn't give it higher because I do think there's some really good pro bending matches stuff going on here.
I think the pro bending match in the second one overall, not only do they play weaker, but it feels sort of forced bad. Like the first one feels good though. I thought.
First one feels great.
Yeah.
Oh, and also one thing to note is that Korra, again, another example that Korra is a very strategic thinker when she's fighting. She hits the opponent far back in the middle, and then she hits the other one in the side, and then the other one's already in the middle, and then so she can force them all out at the same time. Like, for some reason, people hype up, because I get a lot of comments in my Aang vs. Korra video. People hype up Aang's like strategic thinking in fights, and I feel like he's really only used that a couple of times, and mostly against really dumb opponents like Zhao. Even though he says like I try to be quick and clever, like there's one thing to say something, another thing to show it. But Korra, I think, has shown a lot of times, as many as Aang, to be to be a thoughtful in her fights. Um, Sometimes she's not thoughtful getting into the fights, like the one versus Amon, like challenging Amon. But there's plenty of times where she is pretty strategic in her approach. But I probably could have given this a 7.5 out of 10, but 7, whatever. Story, 6.5 out of 10. It's You could do away with this story. I mean, I don't know. I like the bending aspect of it. I like the pro bending aspect of it, and building up Tano. I guess if I was one thing, I'm not a writer, but as a viewer, I guess I would take out the teen romance stuff. Maybe I don't know. Put in more stuff with Tano. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what you do. I like half this episode, and I don't like a lot of the. Don't really care for some of the other parts of the episode. I thought it's funny. It's funny though. Like I should. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
It has three funny parts, or
Yeah.
like sections, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess this episode just is it's hard for me to die. Just like this. Memorable. It gets a 7.5 out of 10, which is probably higher than I thought because it really made me laugh in a lot of moments.
Maybe that's where
Um,
we're trying to encompass those other feelings that we can't describe, and you just put them in a memory. That's what it's there for.
yeah, so 7.5. Bolin was hilarious in it. Um, the thing is, that's a whole meme of so many memes have come out of someone kissing someone and someone else being shocked by it. Like, there's a meme of Korra kissing Aang and Tenzin being shocked by it, and that's saying it's so stupid. But
Some people's idea of humor is very different than mine.
yeah. So anyway, my score comes out to a 6.8 out of 10.
Mine were pretty similar. I gave a little higher in the audio visual because I was generally high on it, or good enough
Okay.
with it at least. But I was that second fight like, uh, I know that it's supposed to be bad, like they're supposed to be performing bad, but visually it's just not as good or interesting. Like they're too almost over the top dumb, and that bugged me. But nothing else about the episode was not good audio visually. Story, I don't like teen romance or ships, and you heard a couple episodes ago, I'm not the biggest on pro bending as it is. So really, all I took away from this was three comedic segments would be Bolin and Mako's conversation, Bolin drunk, and then Naga busting through that window. And that was like the three positives that I took out of this episode. Memorable, I gave it a 6 because I would totally forget that it existed if I didn't watch it just now. That came out to a 6.8. So overall, we're still at a 6.8. So again, it's not that it's bad, and it's certainly not. It might be the worst one in this season, but it's certainly not going to be the worst one in the universe, the Avatar universe.
Yeah, someone agreed with you on pro bending in our last episode. Maybe it was our last episode. I'm gonna read it real quick. Let's see here.
I'm flattered. Thanks. We found the one person. It's not
Uh,
Quidditch bad. I'm giving like it's not anywhere near that bad.
I believe it was on A Leaf in the Wind.
Sounds right.
Which okay, it says if the comments load. Apparently my Wi-Fi is not the best. Me trying to
Well, you
prolong.
while you hum at your phone and try to get to work. I will say that before I critique it too much, what I need to do is like attempt to redesign it. Like if I'm going to come out with all these criticisms, what would I do different about pro bending? So at some point, I will propose a new form of pro bending. It's going to be great.
Oh, it was Hub Holman, which they say I have to agree with Shawn. I never thought pro bending was a well-balanced game, and the rules were vague. So I just checked the game, and the rules do make more sense now. Really liked the idea of a fighting sport with a team, though. By the way, thanks for reading the comment. That was unexpected. Put a smile on my face while at work. I always come here to comment because I like the simple interactions. I can't comment on Spotify, of course. Anyway, nice episode. 10 out of 10. So thank you, Hub Holman. And I hope you like this comment as well.
We read this comment too. That's kind of handy. Hey, thanks for agreeing with me. And like I said before, I talk more trash on it.
No, screw Shawn.
I will. That's fair. Yeah, you know, I deserve it. I'll redesign it. We'll reinvent it as a group, and we'll come up with a better pro bending. I don't know how. I'll think on it.
You know, I was thinking, like, eventually there'll be enough airbenders to add airbending to it, but you can't.
That's gonna change That's part of the problem. Is if you include all 4 elements, then you have to change the whole game.
Well, so some of the rules in pro bending is like there can't be excessive force, and there can't be like there's a hosing rule, right? Like Korra can't like continually push water against somebody. Like you only push so much.
Why not? That's part of bending.
And then I'm guessing fire and earth is the same way, because earth, you know, you only have discs to work with. But like in air, sure, us the audience can see air, but that's only because they make it to where we can see air, so we can visually see where it's coming from. But within the context in the universe of the show, they can't see air. So how would they incorporate an airbending rules to be like, hey, don't do that? Like it would no, it would just be, you would almost have to I can't think of a way. Maybe they'll probably have to put like sand or something in their gloves, and that way you can see where the mist is coming from. You can see if there's some of that mist, you can see if there's an overusage of air.
Yeah, it certainly seems like water and earth, and I'm sure I'm messing something up here and I should know better, but it's like water and earth, you really are at the mercy of your surroundings more than fire and air.
Yeah.
It seems like. So I want to create a team sport out of it. I want it to be a team sport, not like track some of the total country gold medals team sport, but like a real team sport. But all I can keep thinking of is like Pokemon Stadium, where there's like 2 teams and a coach, and he's got one at each bender, and he's got to decide which one to send out each time. Do you ever play Pokemon Stadium?
Yeah.
And that's all I can keep thinking of is just Agni Kais, but with different bending, and it's just 2 coaches trying to like paper, scissors, rock each other with Agni Kais. But I want to invent a team sport. I feel like there's opportunity here. We just gotta use our brains. Honestly, I want it to have a ball, because all of my favorite sports have balls.
I can't think of a good one to use with the ball.
It would have to be like a really durable ball made out of diamond or something, and they just get to use bending to like play basketball, but with bending somehow or other, and you get to carry some of your element in a pouch or whatever it is.
It just seems like just forcing the ball in there.
It's gonna be fun, or like volleyball, but with bending abilities or something. But then air bending would be pretty wild.
I mean, they had the kick volleyball, which is apparently a real thing. Like you can look up videos of like kick volleyball.
Those people are insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I cannot do any of those individual aspects of one of those moves by itself, and they're like jump, kick flipping, and getting it over a net, and it's insane. We'll come up with something. We can make it better. That's for sure. We'll put our brains together. Avatar world. Another time though. It's pretty late. I'm tired. Chris' baby's gonna wake up any moment now. So.
If anyone keeps looking at me looking over, it's because I'm looking at the baby monitor.
It's gonna happen, and that's fine. This is a family-friendly podcast. Hey, well, in that case though, that's enough for me. I think sorry to trash talk the episode probably more than it deserves. It's not good, but it's not that bad.
I think I pointed out some pretty good stuff. I had more fun with the episode than I thought I was gonna have, because sometimes I just think about like. To me, it's better. It's way better than The Great Divide, and I think it's still way better than Bato of the Water Tribe.
I agree with both sentiments, and then I'll say that there's probably a fair number of people out there that dig the kind of melodrama shipping in episodes, the teen romance or whatever. They're probably gonna like it, and that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can think of them, but.
No, I got nothing. I don't even like rom-coms in any format, so it's just not for me. But
Do you don't like rom-coms? I actually love some rom-coms. Depends. Crazy Stupid Love is one of my favorite
I have never
movies of all
seen
time.
Crazy Stupid Love. Ones that I do like, the
Sean,
ones I can think of.
Watch Crazy Stupid Love. It's so good. I don't know
Well,
what it's on, but it's so. I'm surprised I
you're gonna
haven't
have to
forced
put
you to
it
watch
behind
it.
the other TV shows and things that I gotta catch up on.
No,
I
get
like 10 Things I Hate About You. I like I like Hitch. Me and my wife both like Hitch quite a bit. I don't like Kevin James. I do like Hitch. And there's one more that I'm not thinking of that came out like right about the same time of 10 Things I Hate About You, and it's that same more calm, less rom approach to things. But
this one's probably more. Okay, so let me tell you on Crazy Stupid Love also. Let me tell you about the cast. Steve Carell,
you already
Ryan
lost me. I
Gosling.
do not like Steve Carell. You already. I'm out. I'm
Why
out.
do you not? No, just
He
watch. Just trust
annoys
me.
the hell out of fine. I'll listen.
This is not what annoy this will not annoy. This is the Steve Carell that won't annoy. It's not over the top or anything. So
Okay.
the premise is, um, Steve Carell and his wife. His wife cheats on him, and he's like, "Fine, we'll get a divorce, whatever." And he's just trying to find his. He's like this 40-year-old man, maybe 50-year-old man,
I
and he
thought you were gonna
can't.
call him a 40-year-old virgin. I was like, Chris, that's a
No.
different movie.
And he spent his whole life with his wife. He can't. He doesn't know what to do. He's lost. And so he comes across Ryan Gosling, who's this like cool 26-year-old who's like gets all the women, so goes home with like multiple women a night. He's like, listen, I'm gonna teach you how to be cool like me. And so it has that going for it. But then he eventually finds a girl. He kind of starts falling in love with her, and he's like, what the heck is going on here? Like I'm turning into this schmuck here.
Dinner for
But Sean,
Schmucks, another callback. Nice.
watch the movie, Sean, please. It's so good. I want to ruin it.
But you've just described so many things. I don't like Ryan Gosling, except in the SNL skits for the alien abduction ones. That's like the only time I like Ryan Gosling. I don't like Steve Carell, except in no. I really, for the most part, don't like Steve Carell in most of his. I generally like him, but I don't like most of his movies. I don't know. I'll watch it because you recommend it and because I have that much respect for your
It's
taste in
it's
movies.
it's in
But
my
when you
top
asked me
10
how I like it,
movies
and I said,
of all time.
then that's probably gonna be the end of it. But
I know I might just start watching it right now because it's been a while since I watched it.
I'm gonna go watch
You
Hitch
should go.
just to see Will Smith tell Kevin James not to dance like that because when he
It's so
says
much better
that,
than Hitch. I've watched Hitch before, and it's so much better. I mean, I don't want to ruin. I don't want to say that because you will go into the movie being like, it's not going to be better than Hitch. That's going to ruin your experience. It's it has no relationship to Hitch at all.
when Kevin James is doing the dance and Will Smith tells him to stop, that's the dance that I do when I think that I'm dancing. And I have to remind myself, like, no, Will Smith says not to do this, and I'm doing it. But that's why I don't dance. All right, I'll watch the rom-com, but it's gonna have to wait until after more MHA and more other show. What name I can't remember, and maybe after football, then we'll talk.
Just have a nice date night. You and Heather watch it.
She
Don't
probably
know
love it,
what.
and that'll make me even madder. Is that you recommend a movie, and she'd be like, "This is a great movie," and I'll be like, "I hate this movie so much." We'll see. We'll see. Could have been anybody but Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling, who is the worst Titan on the team by a mile. It's the worst Titan,
He is
except
the
for
worst
Jerry.
Titan.
Except for Jerry, of course.
His racist dad tried to get him in the game, but he's not good enough to be in the game.
It's it, it's not Ryan's fault, but he's also a terrible
I mean, the thing
safety.
is, he accepts it. He's like, listen, Dad. I forgot his name. Petey. Petey?
Petey, yeah,
Yeah, he's like, Petey's better than me. Like, he knows it.
is a touching moment, but
Now I feel like watching Remember the Titans. I mean,
that
Ryan Gosling is in so many good stuff, Sean. You should.
what is so many kids? I don't like any other Ryan Gosling movies.
Drive.
I didn't see that one, to be fair.
Blade Runner 2049. Although honestly, I haven't seen it yet.
Didn't see that one either.
But I hear
I
that
will,
one.
though. I like Blade Runner, so I will.
I still haven't finished watching Blade Runner. Anyway, we're going off tangents.
Whatever. You probably like The Notebook. Get out of here.
No, I watched it once. It was fine.
Ugh. Notebook and Serendipity are on like my least favorite movie award list because
Ryan,
it's just
Ryan
people.
Gosling
It's
was
just
my
people
fan
being
choice.
morons. Is all those are. I'm really sorry,
Ryan,
fans. If you like The Notebook or Serendipity, you don't have to account for my taste in movies because my taste is terrible. I admit it. That's fine.
Ryan Gosling was my choice for Batman for a very long time.
Really
Yeah.
surprising. Not Jake Gyllenhaal. I always thought Jake Gyllenhaal would be a good Batman.
No, Ryan Gosling, then Michael Fassbender, who plays Magneto in the X-Men
Interesting.
movies.
You know, Michael Fassbender, you said that at first and I was turned off, but the more I think about it, I can see that. Well, hey, if I have to watch that movie, you need to go watch the SNL skits, the alien abduction one. You don't have to watch them all, just watch the one with Ryan Gosling in it. There's one point where he's trying so hard not to laugh that he's crying, and it makes me
Have you
really happy.
seen Have you seen that Ryan Gosling sketch about Avatar, the movie about like papyrus font?
I know I have. It's been a long time, but I know I've
Yeah.
seen it.
Like he's like talking to his wife. It's like, why would this marketing person who worked for Avatar use papyrus? All they did was type Avatar and just change the font to papyrus. Why papyrus? And then he like goes to the guy's house, looks it up and stuff. And like it's like a trailer for Avatar, but not the movie. And then I think it's called Papyrus. I'm not sure. It just drives him crazy. But
I know I've seen it. It sounds very familiar, but now I'm going to go back and watch it again. So it turns out Ryan Gosling, Sean does like him in above
and you
average
will
comedy
like
sketches.
and you will like him in Crazy Stupid Love.
We'll see. Not this week. Maybe next week. In the
All right.
meantime, you guys should all join us next week as well because it should be a very interesting, different episode. Hopefully, you hung out through this longest closing segment of all time about rom-coms, which is a perfect segue from this episode in our defense. In the meantime, I'm Sean Shaler. That's Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek, YouTube and Twitter fame. Don't forget to check us out on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And that's all I got. We'll see you next time.